Good morning, comrades, and today we're going to kind of review a car. I can tell you it is red, I can tell you it has 4 doors, I can tell you it has a black roof. No, it's not that. I mean, we already had plenty of footage last year with Sub 7up. This, by the way, Timon, who is actually the owner slash builder of the car that we are going to talk about. Maybe you can quickly introduce yourself.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Timon. So I'm from Charoudin Fahrzeugdesign. So we are specialists in tuning Nissan, Kia, Renault and stuff like this. So
stuff like this. So, a Kia Stinger GT. By now, majority of you guys already know what the type of car it is, what type of engine it has, 3.3 liter, 370 horsepower stock. I even have like a cheat sheet in form of a license plate. But this particular car has a bit more, and we will talk about it in a bit. But what I want to say is the reason that we have this car is because I was always curious about the Kia Stinger GT. A lot of you people have also commented last year when I saw this car for the very first time in Spa. You said that you really would like to hear my opinion about it. Some people also said it would be interesting addition to the fleet, probably to our rental fleet here at Apex. So there's a lot of things that I'm curious about and very much would like to share with you guys as well. But first, the important thing about this particular car is the elements, design elements that Timon and your team have done to this car. So maybe you can walk us through it and tell us what you've done to it.
Yeah, of course. So we did all this black stuff. So the air intakes, the front splitter. So we did new rims to the car. So 20 inches. So all the stuff is leathered. So new springs. So the air outtakes at the rear, the spoiler lip, and the plate at the diffuser. So all this stuff is stuff we developed, redesigned, redeveloped, and also produce it. And they are just exclusive Charoudin parts.
So they can basically find it on the website for people who have Kia or also Nissan, like you said.
Just go to our website, it's charoudin.com. You can find all the products, prices, and all the stuff on the website.
Yeah, I must say I really like it personally because the original parts are mostly chromed out, right? Like the grille and the intakes. But it makes this car giving a bit more sportier and aggressive look. I mean, my personal opinion on chrome, I'm not a big fan of it, and especially the way this car is here, it's perfect. It's just very small design elements, but it suits the car very well. And you also said that the car has small chip tuning as well?
So we did a little bit of engine tuning. So now it has 450 horsepower and 750 pounds of torque. So it's
Newton meters. Yeah. This is actually quite interesting because the thing is, a lot of people compare this particular car with the BMW 3 Series, or sometimes they make a mistake of comparing it with the M3, but the M3 has 431 horsepower, or when it's competition pack 450, and in this case this car has 450 horsepower, so that would make it comparable. However, it has all-wheel drive, so in the stock form with 370 horsepower it's more comparable to Audi S5. But now maybe even closer to RS5. Anyway, long story short, this is how it looks on the outside. Let's check out the inside, because the last time we did a car review with Audi R8, you said, okay, nice performance, very good shots, but show us some of the interior. So let's hop in, see how it looks like, and after that we go for a small drive. Okay, well, this feels nice. I mean, some of the... Oh, what's happening to the seat? Memory seats, I guess. That's a nice feature, feels very high quality. What I wanted to say, like the speakers remind me of Mercedes. They are the same way perforated. Nice sunroof, that's very good. Steering wheel feels good as well. Also some perforation here, leather on top. All the controls. Again, this also reminds me of Mercedes, actually, to be honest. This reminds me of Audi, however. So again, it's not saying like, oh, they copied this, they copied that, but those like top German engineering companies, like car manufacturers, are being considered as being luxury. So this is actually a very nice compliment. And especially you get this car actually for far less money than you would pay for like for a BMW or Audi or let alone Mercedes. So first impression is good. Let's get the car started so we can have some air conditioning going actually at this point. Oh, that's a nice feature, some sound here and there. So the first thing already here is a touch screen, but I guess nowadays it's like the least thing you would expect from a car to have a touch sensitive screen. But still a very nice feature. Not too many buttons here. Media, audio, drive modes, that's important. So if I go through here, that shows it to me. So we have Smart, Eco, Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus with traction control off, but I guess in this case it's actually mean the traction control is in dynamic mode, right? So it's probably not completely off. That's nice. What gearbox is in this one?
It's a 7-speed gearbox, so it's shifts really nice, really smooth. So it's really nice to drive.
Good. So yeah, we'll see in a bit. One very, very, very important thing that I have to add is that this car was developed by Mr. Albert Biermann, who is the ex-vice president of BMW M that Hyundai Group took away and let him develop the cars for them. So his most famous recent project is Hyundai i30N, which everyone absolutely loves and cannot understand how this car could be so amazing for that money. And this car was also developed and engineered by him. So I'm very much excited to see if the same goes for this car as for the i30N. If I will be positively surprised, and if at the end of the test drive I'll be like, I want one. But then again, I want so many cars, but that's a positive thing. So far goes the interior. Nothing bad to be said about it. I mean, I'm 1.85 m, actually 1.82 m after doing my recent racing license test, but still it's about 6 feet tall, I believe, in US dimension specs. Anyway, I'm pretty long, but I feel comfortable. I even have my hair going up, but like you can probably drop the seat maybe even, not much. So yeah, but still, that's it for the introduction part regarding the interior. Let's go for a quick drive. Okay, so it shows me some gauges here, all temperature, torque, and boost. Very important to know. So drive mode is in Sport Plus. So let's not do the Sport Plus as of now, because I want to see how the car handles as a GT, because in comfort. Because this car is produced as a GT, so meant for long distance trips. And there we have. I hear some nice rumble because you said you have like a modified exhaust, right?
Yeah, so a lot of exhaust. So
is it at this point closed or is it open?
I think it's open. So
okay.
You have a button right on the left side of
the
the
small
steering wheel. Yeah. So if it's inside. So
do I need to keep it pressed or just like?
No,
stop?
just press it once. And
okay.
You can feel it a little bit inside, and it's.
Yeah. So currently cruising 50 kilometers an hour. It has lowered eye-box springs by how many? 20 mil you said, or 25 millimeters. So it sits a bit lower to the ground. It's maybe a bit stiffer.
Yeah.
But again, this is a sportier car, but I don't find it personally annoying. Probably some people would say, okay, it's maybe a bit too hard. Other people would say like, ooh, it's very sporty, it's very positive. But for me, my personal opinion, it's not annoying. It's like a sports car that I would expect it to behave. So I'm also going to get out of town. We can see what the rest going to do. But again, it's pretty quiet here. We didn't hear much. The tires make a bit more sound because those are Michelin PS4S. They are like high performance tire, I would say. Some people classify them as like, some people say it's semi-slick, close to semi-slick because it offers similar performance as a Cup 2. The only thing you need to know, the tires is that good that we run it on our ring taxis. And they're amazing in dry, and they're even also amazing in the wet. So actually, this car, when it was released, because I did some like Wikipedia thinking about it, Wikipedia reading before I got into this car, and they said that the numbers that Kia gave that this particular 3.3 V6 all-wheel drive version would do 4.9 0 to 100 or 0 to 0.62 if you like want to measure in miles instead of kilometers. But when they put this car on PS4S and one of the journalists in the United States, this car did 4.6, so even faster. So those tires are amazing. But now again, we have a small straightaway. So what happens in comfort mode if you floor it? It's good, and we're now at the end of the road and we already need to slow down, but the acceleration is great, and it's like the punch was good, but it kept on pulling. So I guess it's a double clutch transmission. So
That's true.
So it doesn't have like those single clutch pushes. Maybe it will change if we do in Sport Plus mode. Who knows? We could just do one more time the same straightaway, because sometimes like when you change the modes, the car tries to imitate like the experience that you have with the car. So again, we're rolling 50 kilometers an hour, and let's just pretend we're cruising, we're doing a long trip, and in front of us is some truck that we need to overtake. Still nice. I may or may not have been doing already illegal speeds. So this car is definitely more than you would need on a public road. Yeah.
So it doesn't have a full manual mode.
Okay.
You can just anytime you can just pull the whips, and so you have manual. But at sometimes after some minutes, it's go back to
Okay.
automatic.
So this could be like one of the minus points that people think why it's not really actually a track car. But let's see how long it will keep itself in the manual mode. So I'm cruising now in 4th gear. It will obviously downshift by itself when I start driving too slow, for example, for this curve. But the biggest nuisance with with full manual transmission modes of the cars is if you go in the rev limiter, it will upshift by itself. There's a car driving in front of us, so we cannot try it out at this point. But maybe you can tell me, like, will it keep it in its rev limiter or?
No, so it will shift up. So
Okay.
it will save the engine.
Yeah, which is for some drivers probably a good idea. But what we can do is just drive a bit sportier. It has been raining the whole morning, so the roads are still wet, and we're putting it in sport mode. So we have like some curves here, some bends, and again, the car has plenty of grip. Also, when you accelerate in the corners. It's great. Yeah, so the car upshifts by itself, so I was shortly in 3rd gear, didn't upshift by myself, but the car did it like you told me. So again, it's not an annoying thing, because I wouldn't think why would you... There are some situations on the track where you would like to keep it sometimes in the higher range, where you should just like actually go off the gas, but then again, for in the streets, it's more than fine. I like the gearbox, it's responsive for the car, for its purpose. Yeah. What else should I say? All-wheel drive does its job very nice. Like all those bands that we have a bit of wet, but still plenty of confidence. I didn't see the traction control button lighting up even once.
So if it is in sport mode, you have 80% of the power at the rear and 20 at the front.
Okay.
So it's not 50-50. In comfort, it's 50-50.
Uh-huh.
And in sport or sport plus, it's 80 in the back, 20 in the front.
Yeah.
So. And then at 5 or 4,500 RPM, it opens. and if you open it, it's closed from 2 to 2.5 because this is the area you need to close it for the TÜV.
Yeah. Well, after the sportier driving, you probably want to cruise back home, sometimes in traffic jam, unfortunately. So switch back to the comfort mode. And what I can say, speaking of comfort, I haven't addressed the seats. For me, important part about the car is the seats, because that's the biggest part of the time that you're going to spend your time in. And so far, it has plenty of side support in the corners. That's what I like. And it has also very nice headrest. Sometimes the headrest is just like, has just a small fraction of the material touching your head, and then you're like, where is it? Is it like even there? It's very annoying. But at this point, for me personally, who is sometimes very critical regarding comfort seats, this is very good. So those are the stock seats, right? So it's not modified by you or by any chance, and it's good. In corners, sometimes going back to suspension, it was softer than I would prefer on the track, but on the street I didn't have any like negativity about it. Then again, the same would go also for BMW M any car. In stock form, it's like a bit too soft than you would want to for some racetracks. But then again, if you buy a particular car for a racetrack, you would like invest some money into a suspension upgrade. Another thing that we haven't addressed are the brakes. They're good. It's a big brake kit from Brembo. You could obviously put some racy pads or discs on it, but for street use, it's more than enough. It's great. And again, we didn't do any track tests today, so I don't know if there would be or would not be any fading. But again, if you would go full track usage, you would change pads, change fluid, change discs, and there would be definitely no issue. From the size of it, what I looked at it, seems good enough to me. Just need to address the engine power one more time because there's a tractor driving in front of us. And then we're going back into comfort mode, and I can talk to you about other stuff. What else should I talk about? I don't know. I guess the video has been long enough by now, so the thing is, it's a very short first impression. We've been driving for 20 minutes by now, so I already need to make my verdict. It's a great all-rounder. So if you would get a car as a commuter, you should get one. Do you want to get it as a track car? There are probably some limitations to that. But if you want just occasionally to do some TF session, public driving on Nordschleife, definitely I wouldn't see any issues with doing that. It's sporty, it has nice tone with the exhaust. Also probably in stock form it wouldn't be any bad, and otherwise you can change it. You could probably even change downpipes, because on this car they are stock and it has already a nice tone to it. But why would you get it? If you want, again, a GT cruiser, but most importantly, if you want to have the similar level of quality on the interior, like main competitors like BMW, Audi, Mercedes, but for far lesser price, and have a different styling, because this particular car, it doesn't have any Kia badges on it, and you just told me that when you go to any place, like any car park or something, people are like, what is this? Is it the Maserati? Is it the Ferrari? People actually ask him that, and I believe it, because design-wise, it's great, and it's even greater with the design elements from Jacuzo, because it's, like I told you in the beginning, I'm not really a big fan of chrome, but with the black design elements, it makes the car look Italian, because of like black and red, it makes it amazing. So, would I get one? If I would be looking for a GT cruiser, that would be definitely on my top of the consideration list, because why would you pay 20,000 euro extra for a competitor car like this if you can invest this money in something else? Get your wife like a Volkswagen Up or something in return. Or, I don't know, spend some money on upgrades to this, make it a sportier car, and do some track days during the year. So, in general, I'm very positively surprised regarding the first impression, the short impression. Again, this type of car deserves a longer attention because it's a GT cruiser, and then you start getting to know it, like some imperfections. For example, like when I had the Audi R8, I realized that some things like cup holders, for example, would be like in a very stupid place, so you couldn't like use your hand rest. But in this case, I guess the cup holders are here, so you could put stuff in there and enjoy it. But again, just a disclaimer, some points could come up after longer usage of car. But the first impression is very positive. I'm not paid by this guy to say anything about it. This is my own honest opinion. I have also no affection. It's not a press car, so I wasn't paid by Kia or anything. It's positive, but I also came up with some things that I would see differently, but they are very easy to adjust. But again, I'm happy. Our camera guy and editor is in the back. How's the back seat?
Great.
Good. And again, it's a 4-door. 4 doors for more people. No, great. Thanks a lot for stopping by.
Yeah.
I very
Of course.
enjoyed it. I hope I'll be able to take this car out on the track one day, maybe. Who knows? Because
We'll
your
see.
facility is at Bilsterberg.
Yeah.
So maybe we could do that and see how it will handle. But yeah, I like. Mr. Bierman, you did a great job. So that was like my thing that I wanted to know, if it's just as impressive as the i30N. I wanted to get the i30N myself earlier this year. Eventually I made the mistake of not doing it. So maybe it will happen again, maybe not, who knows. But that car has the same thing like this car does. Why would you pay more for the same? And this is something special. So yeah, if you're doubting about it, just go do a test drive and be convinced for yourself. But for now, I'm just gonna do a couple of more drives myself. Bye-bye.